It's March the 11th, 2014, and this is 508, a show about Worcester. Today we're at the Worcester Think Tank with Lauren Monroe. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you, Mike?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Excellent.
This is a show, a weekly show, where we talk about Worcester, what's going to happen in Worcester, what's been happening in Worcester, some of the best things going on in Worcester. One of the things, a legendary thing, but a legendary thing I never visited till today, was the Think Tank. Whenever people ask you, what do you do? What do you tell them?
I teach and I manage a staff of science, math, and arts teachers to bring hands-on, project-based classes and workshops to the Worcester community.
And that's what you do here at the Think Tank.
And that's what I do here.
So I always think of the Think Tank as like a resource for homeschooled children. Is that an accurate idea?
I would say it's absolutely accurate. Number one, because that's how we started. I was tutoring to a couple of families who were homeschooling, and I began to learn that the community in Worcester and around Worcester was pretty large. And after about a year and a half, I thought that the community was so large that I could actually have a facility and students could visit the facility instead of me traveling around and visiting homes, and it proved to be true. Whether it still is just a homeschool resource, I'd say no, it's not, because we've expanded to have after-school programs and some weekend programs. The ratios might be about 75-80% homeschoolers and 20-25% public schoolers at this point.
And how many students are affiliated with you guys right now?
At this moment, we have about 85 students.
It's a good size.
Yeah, it's a good size, but we never have that many students here all at once. We have students that come once a week for like a workshop, and that's it. And then we have some students that might choose 4 or 5 classes that they're here for. And so that 85 could be the student that comes once a week, or it could be a student who's here, like I said, 4 or 5 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the what's the mix of students and families?
What do you mean by mix?
I don't know. This is some question somebody asked. I think probably as far as like, I don't know, where are people coming from? What are their priorities? What kind of backgrounds? Oh, and also today on the show, Adam Zelny. Hi, Adam.
Hey, Mike.
Do you want to sit down?
Sure.
And are you?
Where
what?
should I sit?
You can sit here, and I'll sit over on this this
great.
coffee table, and hopefully it won't collapse.
You look sharp. I like the bow tie.
Thank you very much. We're talking about the Think Tank. Are you aware of the Think Tank?
I've heard of it. Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like one, and you're also on the staff here, right?
Yeah, the assistant director.
Okay. Well, I was just asking Lauren about, like, somebody asked, like, what is the mix of kids and families who are affiliated with the Think Tank? What do they look like?
Well, what do they look like physically?
I don't know. It's a broad question. I guess
Yeah.
Lauren was saying that it's like about 80% homeschool kids.
Yeah.
Is it mostly people who live in Worcester?
No, definitely the original fan base was Worcester County.
Okay.
And then over years expanded beyond Worcester County, all the way down to like Taunton, right? We've had families from Taunton. What else has been far?
Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Newton. We've recognized that there's a radius of maybe like 40 miles, leaving Worcester and around that are our student base.
Yep,
So
more people.
maybe 15% are from Worcester directly, but the other 85% are coming from anywhere within that 40-mile radius, and in some cases further.
And age-wise, where are your students at?
We serve students ages 8 to 18. Our workshops are designed for those ages. However, predominantly, we're serving mostly 9 to 14-year-olds.
Okay.
Yeah. And no, just come on through. This is
We're
part of the show, is that we're a
People's
vibrant,
backs.
active community.
And I guess, what kind of support is happening here for homeschool kids that's different than they're getting in the rest of their education?
Well, the spectrum for how homeschooling families educate their kids is really, really large.
Okay.
So how any one family decides to fit us in can be very different for why another family is using us. I would say for a majority of the homeschooling families, what they're looking for is classroom experience that allows the opportunity to engage with other students and meet with an individual who's passionate and skilled in the topic that they're teaching, and also work on something hands-on. Science and math seem to be a place where people are seeking resources, more so we've learned than like the literary arts, or what are some other things we've tried to run but have had harder time filling.
You said math?
Well, yeah, math, strangely enough, math alone we've had a hard time filling. I guess it's the science-based and technology-based classes that people source us for more than anything else.
History?
History.
We had a teacher that was definitely almost a resident history teacher with us.
Yep.
She focused on
See you guys later.
history classes, kind of like really interactive hands-on history classes involving dressing up, and she would dress up frequently. There was one class where she developed like a Lego sort of village with the kids, complete with like a fabric river running through it. It was really great. And she also did she did a course called Storyteller's Art. Just basically she was she's revered here because she was one of the few teachers that have come through that are prepared and excited and passionate to teach a really broad array of like imaginative classes. She's not with us. She did her time and moved on, and not in a bad way. She just had to go, and she has like 4 kids, right? I think, and so we have no history, and history, that's one of the things on the current bucket list for Lauren and I think, are to reach out for fall teachers, and on my mind has been history, is with regard to an innovative curriculum for the fall.
So the two of you are not teaching all the classes.
No, though we both teach, but we're
Okay.
not teaching all the classes. There are about 14 other teachers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and again, they're probably coming like once a week for a class. So right now, we've got a couple of teachers in this space. Adam and I are residing in this space, but most teachers won't meet the other teachers unless we have except for when we have our community events or our like teacher meetings. So they sort of pass one another or don't see each other if they're not here on the same day.
So what is the background of the teachers like? Who are these people?
Cool. I love talking about the teachers. And the other thing that I think is unique is that, while Adam said, like, we're looking for a history teacher, we're always looking for technology educators, but we're also looking for an educator who we might not even know what it is they can teach or want to teach, but because they have such a passion and a drive and skill, we will give them the platform here for what they can do and run with it. We're really picky about our teachers. Our teachers are really special. They're really good. And for example, Beta Asbridge, who teaches Arabic culture, came to us with some ideas on things that she wanted to run for a class. It was a class that we probably never would have thought to run or seek, but because she came to us and she came with such enthusiasm and passion and background, we just put it on the schedule. So that's, I think, one thing about us that's a little bit unique in the way that in some ways that we style a schedule. But it's a variety. Professionals, some of them are certified teachers, some of them are professionals who just communicate their skill very well. Scientists, some of them are interns from the Mass College of Pharmacy and Health Science. It's a vast array.
Yeah. And that's one of the things Lauren and I have highlighted over and over when we tell people stories about our teachers. After Lauren struck up a relationship with a professor at MCPHS at the Pharmaceutical College,
It was through Worcester State. It was through my organic chemistry professor from Worcester State who introduced me to the dean at the time at MCPHS, who also had a friend whose kid went here, and we happened to eventually all come together, and that's how the internships began.
Yeah, and I keep pointing this out because MCPHS has encroached on a huge portion of downtown, and I think it's good because we've had an opportunity to meet and work with a lot of the people going to the school, particularly in grad programs, and So two of those interns, one of them went on to offer a genetics workshop called the Fly Room, which was modeled after like a famous geneticist.
Thomas Hunt Morgan.
Thomas Hunt Morgan.
Yep,
Yeah.
at Columbia University.
And
hey guys.
and the workshop. Hi, Fiona. And the other workshop was. Well, actually, is running now. Is more an official. Actually, the other intern ran a debate class, which did everything from philosophical debate, like a Socratic method, and all the way up to kind of modernized debate, and then went on to develop a course using the video game Minecraft, and in a very, very innovative way, essentially teaching electrical engineering
Within Minecraft.
within Minecraft.
Yeah.
Because in the game there's redstone, which acts as a power conduit or a power source or a power cable, and you can simulate switches, binary code, you can create logic machines in the game. So
That is awesome.
and he loves it. He loves teaching it. So yeah, so I really love making that connection with how we are becoming more involved with the city as far as making a dent in progress. Yeah.
Were you going to say something?
No,
I want to ask one more sort of broad, general population question, and
Yep.
then maybe talk about some specific stories.
sure.
How many hours a week is a kid who's involved with you guys coming down?
I mean, as I said, we have kids that come once a week and that's it. We don't see them except for like that hour and a half or 2 hours. And then we have some kids who might come for 4 or 5 workshops a week. So on average, or maybe 3 hours a week, if you sort of.
But it sounds like there's really no sort of like, well, this is the general thing that people do. What people do is they use it how they need to use it, and that varies from person to person.
Yeah, although there is a pattern, and that usually is that when a family is trying us out for the first time, they, try a workshop that might be like a one-time, no commitment, once a week thing, or they'll try like a class, and then if it's a good fit, they'll slowly start to fill their schedule, maybe the next semester or the next year, with more stuff. And I would say we definitely see maybe every semester new students who then carry on to take more the next semester, and that's a pattern I've recognized. I mean, that sometimes we have people who come and don't come back too. It's not a fit for everybody.
I want to ask you about success stories. Do you have any notable things that come to mind when I say success stories?
Well, yeah, the MCPHS interns is definitely is one of those. Having interns turn into teachers is always a success story.
2 students, think tank students who have come back to teach at think
Oh
tank.
yeah, that's
really?
That's
Yeah.
that's
Wait,
probably-
how many years have you been doing this?
This
now?
is our 6th year.
Oh, okay. So
We have teenagers who were here our very first year, who might have been 16 when they started, who now are 22. No, Tyler's not that old. I don't know. Or maybe they were 14 when they started, but they
Tyler might be 20.
yeah, they've now come back and they're teaching. Tyler Trahan was here with us our first year we were open, and now he's teaching an applied digital photography class.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's very good at it. He's very good. And he took photography here. That was with Lindsay Monroe, my sister, actually, the first year we were open.
Do you find that homeschoolers tend to go on to college, or do they continue sort of non-standard educational path?
That's a great question. And I would say that from my experience, based on the homeschoolers that I've seen through here and got to know intimately enough to know what their plan was, I would say the majority of them do go on to college.
Okay. So they're doing the homeschool during the
Oh
public.
yeah. Well,
Okay.
I mean, I have no degree, and I am here as the assistant director helping this business run, and I think of myself with respect to that, and what my educational history was like, and how public school was a bane. It was like it intimidated me, it frightened me, it made me not want to learn. But my community, particularly in Worcester, my community of artists and musicians particularly, and intellectuals, inspired me to be more entrepreneurial and desire something like this, like being a part of something like this. So yeah, I want to say it just reminds me of the entrepreneurial approach to life, and exercising more of a choice to do what you want to do.
And not plugging yourself into this path and just riding down this path and assuming.
Right. Yep. That's like my mantra with any class I run, particularly my literature class, because I'm teaching like standardized literature formats, essay formats, MLA, stuff like that. And I will say, okay, you may approach a professor who demands this format, and it has to be just so. If that is the path you're choosing, make it that way. But then I will do my best to encourage them to create their own style, and try to kind of still go outside the box even when there are constraints.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask you guys about your personal experiences with public education. I should ask Lauren this too.
Sure. I mean, I was public schooled in this area. I went to Naquag Elementary when it was Naquag, and graduated from Wachusett Regional High School. And I pretty much followed that path, and then went right to college, though in college I moved around from college to college a little bit, ultimately graduating from UMass Amherst. And then after that, I knew that I couldn't actually keep that up, sort of that rigor of like another school year and another school year and another school year. So I stopped schooling at that point, and then I started traveling and working. And then that was really the time when I learned about like education through experience, practical applications to what I'd learned, reading and studying on my own. And I take a lot of sort of what is now Think Tank from that experience abroad and the communities I immersed myself in after college, more so than in college.
Okay.
Though I did go back to school when I came back to pursue a master's. But having had maybe 7 years off from school really helped shape me to be a different kind of student when I re-entered the classroom later on.
Just because you have a real concrete idea of what that master's is supposed to give you?
I think so, because I mean, when I was traveling, I discovered that if I wanted to keep working and traveling abroad, I needed, unfortunately, one thing I did learn is that there was a currency with the degree. So by having a bachelor's degree, I was able to get a work visa in Japan. If I wanted to do more than teach English, because I recognized, due to picking up books on Carl Sagan in the local used English bookstore in Tokyo, I sort of reignited a passion with science and wanted to go back into it, but realized that if I really wanted to do much more, I needed a higher degree.
Right.
So it's one of the reasons I came back. So that's it's sort of this long, twisting journey, and then ultimately Think Tank kind of stepped in front of me during that time when I was going back to school, and Think Tank became the new master's. And I have since shelved the other formal degree again. And I guess it might be something on my plate to pursue with Think Tank if I can bundle it up together, because I'm not going to let go of Think Tank. So
like one of these deals where like your master's project is running a
public lab space. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool. Do you guys want to wander into the
Yeah,
other
let's
room?
wander into the community.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because we've just been sitting out here in the lobby.
Here.
Now we have the community room. And people are doing a class in the other room over here.
Would you like me to give a disclaimer
What is that?
with regard to
you should-
being filmed?
I think you should definitely give people a disclaimer.
Excellent.
We don't really have to show them either. We can just
Oh no.
do whatever.
And I gave a quick
Would anyone prefer to opt out of being filmed? No. Raise your hand if you would not like to be filmed. Awesome.
No hands.
Yeah.
Let the record show there are no raised hands.
So this is our community space. This is where families, siblings, parents, kids in between classes, before and after classes, hang out. Free Wi-Fi, refrigerator, microwave, etc. And then if you peek in quickly in here,
Improv.
improv
Oh my
acting.
All of those kids have signed waivers to be filmed.
Yeah, no problem being filmed.
Yeah. Do you want? Yeah, we should go in.
We can go in there. Look
Yeah.
at it. Sure.
Oh, wow. You have a wonderful lump of candy. Nom, nom.
Sometimes I come in and join them. I love to, like, when I get a chance, just jump on a class, and particularly this one.
Bears! Oh, wait, they're edible. Hello, I'm knocking down. Whoa, look what's on the ground. It's an anthill made of brown sugar. Awesome. Hey, look, is there a sprinkle there?
This is so great. Thanks for showing us.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a question that somebody asked me to ask you, which was, so Ms. Yu, you said you have about 20% of your students are public school kids.
Yeah.
Do you guys coordinate with teachers, public school teachers much?
A little bit. Here, let's step back in here where.
Yeah.
I mean, Adam and I both have some very close friends who are Worcester Public School teachers. You
Yeah.
know, we certainly engage them in conversation often to, just as friends to learn about what life is like for them at work and what life is like for us at work. There are a couple of schools that we've coordinated with and done some programming with. But I would say overall, I don't know if you feel differently, like some disconnect between the public schools and what we're doing here. Outside of maybe going in and running like a real short hour and a half after school program and then leaving. Conversations with the teachers one-on-one to sort of talk about teaching methods and that kind of thing. I don't have that much, not a lot of that, not enough of that is happening.
Yeah. Because it's interesting to hear you talk about the pharmacy school, and
Yeah.
like that seems like a very natural relationship that's grown up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the scientific, with regard to science courses here, absolutely, yeah. And, like, invaluable to Lauren, who, like, I'm like the liberal artist, whereas I focus on literature and film art, music, and Lauren is, like, the scientific artist. And when the MCPHS interns come in, it's like she just puts them right to work, and it's great. It's like and they love it too. They have a really good time. I already see them. This like the student. There's two different groups. There's a group of 2 interns and 3.
Yeah, we have 2 that are assisting classes. I always use them in the chemistry classes just because, they're grad students in pharmacy, and so they almost always have a very good background in mathematics and chemistry, which helps a lot as an assistant in the chemistry class that I teach.
Do you guys have like a chemistry lab, or this is just like paper chemistry?
It's as far as like a lab workshop space, we're kind of like do it yourself.
Okay.
So
It's like a to-go lab.
Yeah, it's sort of interchangeable. So, there's storage of some chemicals that I know how to handle and that I know how to keep, and then there's storage of things that I know that we can't have here and we don't. So there are
Right.
labs that we choose to do that are safe to do here, and then we don't do the ones that we can't. Maybe someday when we can get fume hoods and get other kinds of equipment that we just don't have right now, we might be able to do some higher scale things. But for now, there's a lot that can be done safely, like with stuff you buy from the pharmacy or from other educational supply companies that have really figured out ways of teaching dynamic things with less harsh chemicals.
Cool.
Yeah.
I want to video a book real quick, 2 books real quick. I just want people to see this at home. Lego Robotics, Arduino. That's what I'm talking about, people. Is there anything that I should have asked you about that I forgot to ask you about? Anything else you guys have a burning desire to share?
Well.
Let's talk about vision, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
So
agree
one
with that.
place that we're going, We love being here. It's a great space. It has its ups and downs. We had a power outage once that made for a really great forensics class because it
right.
happened, and then we had to deal with it, pull
I
out the
took
candles.
a great
and
photo. Yeah, I took this great photo of them all illuminated by candlelight, and then made a news article on our page. It just, that
Right.
sort of stuff lends itself to good promotion.
And
in
that
a way.
reminds me,
But not, yeah.
we should mention the space, which is that this is on Harlow Street, off of Lincoln Street. This is like right by the sprinkler factory and that little.
It's in the
It's
sprinkler
within,
factory.
yeah.
It's that complex, if people are familiar with that. Anyway,
So every now and then, Adam, and I dream about being in a different kind of space that maybe it has a little more reliability in some of those regards. Though there's so much charm here. And one of the things we're moving towards is more technology, hands-on technology-based workshops. We're taking on a program called Curiosity Hacked, which is programmable electronics and soldering and computer programming. And we do hope to transform a corner in this space in the next few months to have soldering iron bench, vinyl cutter, 3D printer, and we hope to be moving in a direction of offering more courses that are based on that style of education, kind of like your makers or do-it-yourself citizen scientist style workshops. So that's just a vision, a recent vision and transformation. And I guess just sort of word out there that, we are looking for space that we can inhabit and grow, because the other thing about where we are right now is this is where we can expand into. We can't grow outside of these walls necessarily.
And community involvement. You asked us the right questions earlier to get the answers of the community we serve, which is Worcester County and beyond. But last semester I started really focusing on what about Worcester? Where is our Worcester community, and how can we better serve them? Because truth be told, we are a private business, and we charge tuition. We have no scholarships. We have no.
We do have scholarships.
I know. I'm getting there.
Sorry.
No.
It's like 29.
So we have no financial aid, and we were approached by someone, an anonymous source who is a friend of ours, who really loved what we were doing and gave us scholarship money. And it sat for a little while as we kind of meditated on how to implement it. And last semester I finally put a lot of effort into how can we get this moving. And we agreed that we should try to isolate the funds to Worcester residents only, though this is really just a trial run, because we want to be involved in this. We want to help the city thrive a little bit more. We want the city to breathe a little bit easier.
And John Pierre is a Worcester resident, and he is one of our scholarships.
good job.
For what class, JP?
Digital Artist Club. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
But last year I was doing what was it called again? Yeah, problem solving in Minecraft.
So Digital Artist Club, what JP's talking about, is run by, initially it was a duo of two women who are moms and run a company, I guess, right, called Screen Savvy Kids, with the goal to educate youth on how to safely and productively use the screen, anything with a screen, a computer, a television, the internet, and we love them. They're absolutely amazing. But one of the things is they've been offering these really unique courses, but they have been the ones that don't fill, or they just fill. They get like 4 students and then they barely run. And we get really kind of bummed about that because they're so unique. So this semester we were able to offer some scholarships associated with the course, and it is running, and it's wonderful. So the kids are sitting at IMAX using freeware to professionally edit photos, that they're taking, and it's really, really cool. And it's kind of casual too. That's where the club comes in. It's kind of like come on in and let's work in a free-form way.
I have to interrupt you there.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, we're almost out of time.
Okay.
I want to thank you guys for being on the show. Lauren Monroe,
thank you.
Adam Zelny.
Can you poke the camera in the other room real quick?
This
Oh,
one?
No,
the
the
Tech
other one.
Lab.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just walk over there. We got 45 seconds.
Yeah, follow me.
This has been 508, a show about Worcester. If you have any complaints or questions, you can email us at pieandcoffee@gmail.com. For more about the think tank, just Google Worcester Think Tank. And here they are.
Magic the Gathering Group.
Hi, Tobin. Talk to you guys next week. Bye bye.